is Sherry from Style Tips with Sherry, and thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Welcome back if you are not new here, and welcome if you are. During this month, during the month of July, I am actually going to be tackling the subject of aging and how it's affected me and what that's doing in my life. And I hope that you are going to glean some wisdom during these next couple of weeks. I am going to be having some special guests on, just like I did in June. We had so much fun, but today I'm going to do this all by myself, like I normally do on my channel, except for June. But I'm going to do this by myself and really just talk to you candidly about aging and what it has meant to me and what I'm seeing happening with my friends, and just kind of help you to know that you're not alone, that this is something that is happening to all of us, hopefully, because if we're not, we know the alternative, right? I am going to be 59 this year in about 2 months, and 60s next year, and I don't know where you are. I don't know if you're a lot older than me, a lot younger than me, you're near the same age, but let's talk about this whole idea of aging and doing it gracefully. I don't know about you, but recently I have started noticing more lines on my forehead and in between here, like in between my eyebrows and above my lip line, that like they weren't there last year. It's kind of like, where did these come from? And so, I've been struggling a little, I'll be perfectly honest with you, but I have to keep reminding myself that it's normal. And what about you? Like, I'd love to hear in the comments, like, what's going on in your head? And so I had somebody recently ask me about botox and plastic surgery and all the line fillers and all of those kinds of things, and she's like, do you think can we do that? What's your thoughts on it? And I do have some thoughts on that, but I'm gonna save that for just a little bit. So I want to get into a few things first. Here's the thing. I've got these lines, and you've got some lines. And there are some things that we can do to age gracefully instead of just letting it happen to us. Okay, it's going to happen to us. We are letting it happen to us, right? Because what else are we going to do? But there are some things that I truly believe that we can do, you and me, sister, that we can do that really is going to help us to look better and feel better. And I know one of the things that I have found is that I'm eating differently than I've ever done before. In fact, I signed up for it's called Faster Way to Fat Loss. It's kind of a system to really help me not focus so much on weight, but in fact, we're not even supposed to weigh ourselves, but to really help lose the fat. And it's tracking different things and, tracking macros, which I had to learn about all what that was. But I have completely seen a change in my body and my overall feeling, like just the way I feel about myself. So maybe that's something that you could do. Not join the program. I mean, if you want to, absolutely. But maybe start eating differently. What are some things that maybe you could do that you aren't good for you? Because all of those bad foods, sugar especially, affects the way our skin looks. And so if this is a concern to you, then I would say, hey, for the month of July, maybe give up one thing. Just make a goal to give up one thing to help your skin look fresher and, all of that. The other thing that I've noticed is I've had to change up my exercise a little bit. For most of you, well, if you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I do CrossFit. And I love to do CrossFit. The problem is our gym owners, because of this whole COVID, went out of business. And so I had to come up with other alternatives. And so I'm doing an online program and I'm loving it. But what I'm finding is that I feel so much better after I exercise than than on days that I don't. And so where normally I would do CrossFit 2 to 3 times a week, 3 was always my goal. And even doing my online program, and it's got some weight involvement, you know, using weights and plus some cardio and that kind of thing. But I'm finding that I actually have to do it more often than even 3 times a week. And so maybe that's you. Maybe you need to or maybe you should up your exercise. And if you're a walker and you've been walking for years, maybe add some strength training. I know that adding strength training, hey, you guys, I'm not a fitness person. I just know from experience as we're talking about aging, what is working with me. And, you know, working with some weights and doing strength training has really made a difference. I remember last year when I started CrossFit, there were days that I would lay in my bed because I could hardly get up out of my bed. I might even sit on the couch on days and not even be able to stand up because my lower back would just glitch, and it was so painful. I would go downtown to meet my marketing director for meetings. I would take the train and go uptown, we call it here in Charlotte. And sometimes I could hardly get up off of the seat on the train without fear that my back was going to give out. And I mean, one time I got up and I went straight to a chiropractor. I didn't even belong to a chiropractor, but I looked in the phone and thought, where can I go? I was in so much pain. The minute I started, and it feels like a minute, when I started CrossFit, literally within a couple of weeks, my back pain went away, because we have to strengthen our back, the core, all of that. So for those of you in Aging Gracefully, we have to change up our exercise routine. Just like we have to change up our food intake, we have to change up our exercise routine. Okay, so let's talk about our skin, because I think that is major. That's what we see first, right? We look in the mirror and we go, oh, those lines. Well, next week, on next week's video on our YouTube channel here, I'm actually bringing in somebody who's actually going to show you how to do a 5-minute makeover for mature skin. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you already are subscribed, but if you're not, do that so you get a little ring a bell, so it'll remind you to check back next week. But she's going to show us that. But when I was talking to her about lining her up for this, I said, can we talk about skincare too? Because I know that I have to moisturize more. I have to use eye cream. I've always been really good about using skincare. I really have. But sometimes, especially with this whole pandemic that's going on with the corona, sometimes it's like, I go to sleep without washing my face, or because I didn't put makeup on the day anyway, right? But seriously, taking care of your skin is so important. So check back next week. We're going to talk about that. And I'm excited for you to hear from Nancy. And then another area, and I'm going to have somebody talk about this in a couple of weeks as well, our bodies. Okay, so I talked about the exercise, right? But our bodies are changing. We're growing older, and it's like I look down and it's like, why doesn't that darn stomach just go away, right? I can exercise and do all kinds of things, but it's like, it's there. So our bodies, when I work with you, and if you're not in my VIP community, oh my goodness, please get on the wait list. Please, 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 I beg of you. You will not believe the stories that we have of success inside that VIP community, and just the friendships and the camaraderie. And we don't open until September. So I just need you to know that. So mark September 4th on your calendar, put it in right now. We open up then. And so we'll be starting to talk about it pretty heavily then. But what happens in the VIP community, what I'm seeing is, first of all, I talk about the 4 body shapes, right? BODX, and I've talked about them on here before, just really where you gain your weight. So as you grow older, what happens is you are still going to gain weight in the area that you typically do. So for me, it's my belly. I've always gained weight in my belly first, right? For you, it might be your hips and thighs. For some of you who are watching, it may be your bust line. For others, it may be that you evenly gain weight all over. And for you guys, it might even be harder, because what's happening is all of a sudden you put something on that you wore last summer or last winter, and you're like, oh my goodness, this doesn't even fit, because you have such an even weight gain, you don't even know when it shows up. So one of the things that I encourage those VIPs to do inside the community is really concentrate on your body shape and understand where you gain your weight, and then let's dress to flatter that. And so make sure that when you're dressing, if you gain a little extra, and again, in a couple of weeks, we'll have even more on this, but just really dress that so that your body is camouflaged. So you're not, maybe you've always been able to wear belts and now you just can't, because otherwise it'd be dressing up the fluff, you know what I mean? So decorating is usually what I say. Another area that I find that I've really been struggling with over the last year is my hair. My hair texture, and it's been falling out, and it's been getting, it's getting a little more brittle. And so I had to change hair products. If you watched my video last week on cancer and beauty with Tammy Hickey, she talked about that she sells Monat, M-O-N-A-T. Anyway, and I have a rep that I use because I was telling her, oh my goodness, I changed to that hair brand. And I'm not here to say, get this particular hair brand. That's not what that's about. But I had to change my hair brand, and it was such a difference. So as you're getting older, if you're not wearing or if you're not using a better quality product for your hair, it's time to change. And I know it might seem, gosh, I've got to change everything about me, but ladies, we might have another 50 years on this earth. How exciting would that be? I told my husband today, I think I'm going to live to 110. So that's, that'll be almost a little more than 50 years. And so he's like, I don't want to live that long, because he's in pain with his back on a regular basis. He's like, but I'm like, well, I do, and I want to see my grandchildren grow up and all of that. But it might be that, I'm telling you all of these things like do this, do that, but changing your hair products, big deal. It was a big deal for me. Big deal. And you know what? Another thing that you might want to do is change even hairstylists. I was going to the same hairstylist whom I loved for 18 years. And I'm just making changes in my life right now. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to change hairstylists. And that was a hard thing to do, that communication. But sometimes I think we get in a rut, not that she had my hair in a rut, but that I would just sit down, let her do whatever. And I'm to the point where, you know what? I kind of want to tell somebody what I want. I kind of want to tell somebody, and so you might just have to make some changes. And you know what? Another thing about growing older is that you might have to get rid of some toxic relationships in your life. And on the last week of this month, I'm going to bring on a friend or two and really talk to you about friendship and what that means in our lives as we're growing older. And so finally, I'm going to close with this, and I'm going to show a picture right here of me in second grade. I think that's my second grade photo. It might be the first grade photo. I think it's second grade photo. But do you notice that I have an ear that sticks out on the one side of the photo when you're looking at it? It's my right side. So when I was in fifth grade, well, in every class photo that you see up until fifth grade, my ears, one or the other, one more than the other, but stuck out through my hair. And my parents decided that they would have me have plastic surgery on my ears. Now, in fifth grade, I don't get to make that choice, right? But they made it for me, and I'm glad they made that decision for me, because it gave me more confidence as a little girl. I mean, it just did. But when you're in school, you're really only thinking about yourself anyway. So, and I hope that as the years have gone, I've gotten wiser and that you have gotten wiser. And I started out this video by saying that somebody asked me recently when they were interviewing me, they're like, what do you think about plastic surgery? And I always go back to that, when I was a young girl and I had it. And so obviously, I didn't hate it, right? So I had it. But here's what I would have to say to you as somebody who is aging, and based on, I have a strong faith walk with Christ, and I would say to you that the first thing you want to do is pray about it. And I don't know what it is that you want to have done, but as far as, maybe you want to have a bust reduction or a bust enlargement, or you want to have a nose job, or you want to have your ears done, whatever that is. Pray about it. And if the Lord gives you a peace over that, then by all means, go for it. But don't change and don't do something that if you are going to have that surgery, it's for the reaction of another person. So if somebody else wants you to have that surgery, it's a no-go. Like it's a, I'm not getting my, bust enlarged for, you or whatever. I'm just saying, different things. Here's another experience that I had. So about 10 years ago, I had a company reach out to me and say, we want to give you Botox for free in exchange for you talking about our services. And they had other services. They had like facials and different things like that. And I thought, oh, well, I could not get peace about this. Like honestly, I just couldn't get peace about it. And the day I was supposed to go for the Botox, I knew in my gut that I shouldn't go, but I did anyway. And I went and got the Botox. And that day or the next day, I had to leave for a speaking engagement to speak in a church. And I remember my husband went with me, and I remember looking like this. Like there were no wrinkles anywhere on my face. Like I was like, but I couldn't move. I couldn't smile much. I mean, it was awful. And I remember looking in the mirror and just thinking, oh my goodness, what have I done? But they said it's going to be really nice, right? Well, I don't know. It was probably a couple weeks later. I was supposed to go back for a second injection or something, as best my memory serves me. Again, that morning I was praying and having my quiet time, and I felt the Lord clearly say to me, not audibly, but in my head, I know his voice, say, if you go through with that, how can you with authenticity tell my daughters, you guys, that they're beautiful when you feel like you're not beautiful enough? So I canceled my appointment. They were not happy about it, but I wasn't there to make them happy. I'm here to make him happy. And so that's the story of my Botox. And so I say to you, how are you doing? How are you aging? How do you feel about yourself? Let's do this together. Let's do the things that we can do without completely altering ourselves, but really to feel so good about yourself. Sit down, get a journal, write it out, look in the mirror and say, okay, what is it, the few little things that I can do that will make myself maybe look a little better, but feel better?